With effect from March 8, Binance, the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world, will no longer offer any Naira services due to regulatory issues in Nigeria. The company will stop accepting Naira deposits after March 5th and stop accepting withdrawals on March 8th because of greater scrutiny due to Nigeria's Bitcoin crackdown. And from London, UK, Atose, CEO KoinKoin Exchange, joins me on the show. Thank you for joining me today.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Absolutely. Well, cryptocurrency exchange, that's Binance, has announced plans to discontinue all services related to the Nigerian Naira. Does this foreclose further investigations into its activities?
I think it's hard to say at this point. There is no, as best as I know, and certainly information that's coming to us, there could perhaps be further investigations. There is some view that they're being fined. But there is no specific information around what's happening with their operations in Nigeria. Short of the fact, as you just mentioned, they'll be ending their Naira, any sort of Naira taking within Nigeria. Whether that means they're completely out of Nigeria, we do not know. But again, they're ending their sort of Naira deposits and Naira withdrawals. So again, that's all the information we have. To answer your question, I guess, is there more investigation coming? Well, based on what the central bank governor said, at the last MPC meeting, I think it's very possible that there could be, further investigations, and I'm sure the federal government would like to get to the bottom of everything that Binance have done or are doing, if you like, in Nigeria.
Well, while the conversation around Binance, took over the media, we're even talking about it right now. Some persons kept asking how it operated freely in the country without being licensed or regulated. Sometime SEC, that was last year, SEC issued, a statement saying that nobody should deal with it. It wasn't registered or regulated and all of that. But then looking at the fact that irrespective of this particular exchange still operated, and we have quite a lot of Nigerians, trading on its platform. Don't you think that's an indictment to the country's regulators?
I think it's a little bit unfair to put this on the regulators only. And there are a number of reasons why I say that. The first reason is around the world, there's not clarity on how to sort of deal with digital assets or cryptocurrencies, if you like. And different regulatory bodies around the world only just instituting frameworks by which digital assets and cryptocurrencies can be managed and regulated for retail consumption. So this is still new, right? And of course, unlike in other countries, Nigeria didn't perhaps, if you want to be more brutal, penalize or perhaps prosecute any of the exchange owners for doing anything in particular with the national currency, the Naira. So I believe this emboldened, obviously, a number of the exchanges who felt that as long as they could deal or perhaps have P2P boards out there that, different, persons or different Nigerians who actually want to use the service would use their service. And as long as people were using the service, that meant that there was some sort of support for the service. But in recent times, the SEC has actually come out and said and invited exchanges to get registered and become regulated. And my understanding is exchanges such as Binance, ourselves, KoinKoin, are looking to, put in our applications to the SEC and obviously, then wait for the next steps. Of course, unlike Binance, we haven't established ourselves in Nigeria just yet. We're trying to do that. And as of yesterday, we know our application to the SEC has been accepted. So we're part of the incubation program, and we're looking forward to providing, digital assets, cryptocurrencies, virtual assets to the Nigerian public under the regulatory guise of the SEC.
Let me come in here, Ola. Let me come in here. One of the things people say about cryptocurrency is its volatility and how that you cannot necessarily trace transactions and all of that. So if we're having a situation where some of this exchanges are coming into Nigeria and they want to be regulated. Are we sure that, we have the framework to monitor, to ensure and to see that the same things we're accusing Binance and other exchanges of doing, to ensure that these new people who come to register will not do the same things? And that, one might also want to ask Binance, fine, you're a platform and then you enable transactions on your platform. Don't you also have frameworks? How come you're not going by certain, probably certain regulations, like following the anti-money laundering rule regulation, or even, the CTL, looking at all of these things? So how are we sure that, registering will actually ensure that these particular platforms do not do the same things that these other ones have done?
Well, I mean, the conversation we're having now is considerably more advanced than the conversations we were having in 2020 or 2021. And to answer your question, yes, there is a body called the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force, and what that body has wanted for a while is the means to institute the travel rule for cryptocurrency transactions. So if I were to send you cryptocurrency, the world would like to know that it is I that sent it to you and not just my wallet speaking to your wallet. And to that end, we at KoinKoin are pleased to announce that we will be one of the first platforms that introduces an end-to-end travel rule, which makes senders and receivers of digital assets on our platform responsible, for ensuring that whoever sends them digital asset is named, and whoever they're sending digital assets to is also named. So this is something we're doing. It's not going to take away from the easy experience.
And are we also going to see, the case of limit? There's transaction limits. There's a limit that should come from individuals and the limit that should also come from companies. I mean, these are some of the things we're looking at, and we're hoping that, these things will also be done, it will be extended to these exchanges. But moving away from that, let's go back to, the crux of the matter.
If you don't mind, I'd like to give you 20 seconds just to embody that
Maybe
point.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. I spent a lifetime in financial services, almost 20 years now. And the bottom line is I have specifically put certain things into my platform, which allows there to be limits for transactions. And of course, as I've just mentioned, instituting the travel rule, which I'm sure the SEC and the CBN will be very keen to see, because it solves those problems, which I know they're very, very concerned about.
All right, so back to this now. What do you make of the federal government's stance against Binance and other crypto exchanges? Binance, for example, was accused of exploiting the Nigerian currency, leading to its free fall in value and some other things like that. Now, could activities on this platform have significantly swayed the Naira?
So I think, to answer that question, and I'd like to be as honest and as forthcoming as I can. Binance, when I first came across the platform in 2017, I thought it was a great platform. And part of what gave us our idea to build our platform, because we initially got our idea back in 2017, was largely what Binance was doing, but we focused on doing something specifically for Africa. Binance built a very robust platform. They took AML very seriously. Counter-terrorist finance was a big part of what they were doing. The issue they had was the fact that individuals can come, and once, as you mentioned earlier, crypto starts moving from wallet to wallet, on their platform, off their platform, it becomes difficult for them to sort of say, where's that money come from and where is it going? So that's part of the problem. In terms of the Naira, with issues that we have at home with regards to subsidy, removal, or whatever it may be right now, there are a number of issues that we have with the Nigerian Naira, import, export, how much are we importing versus what we export. There are a number of issues the Naira has. I think it's fair to say that. At the same time, when you have unfettered access to either a digital dollar, a stable coin, using the Naira, and you can price that digital dollar as you see fit, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the reference rate set by the CBN. It's okay if you do it for one day. It's okay if you maybe do it for 2 days. But if you do it for many, many years, the impact will be felt, right, on the economy. There's no way you can escape that. Now, in Binance's defense, I'm sure they never set out to do price discovery on the Naira. But by simply having millions of Nigerians coming back and forth, I've got this buy at this level, you've got this buy, sell at this level, you create this sort of if you like, bleeding, it's hemorrhaging of the value of the
Ola,
naira.
let me come in
And that's
here.
happened,
Let me come in
that's
here.
happened over
Are
time.
you saying that after building a platform, we could get to that point where even the builders lose power and cannot control or, put some measures in place to ensure that things do not go overboard?
No, that's not what I'm saying. You
Okay.
can absolutely control it. And what's happened in this instance has happened before with normal currencies in the 90s. There are stories where the pound, in itself was crashed by one individual. So there are a lot of things we've learned in traditional financial services that will aid us in ensuring that these things don't happen. The problem is when you have folks without traditional financial services experience trying to run exchanges or trying to, become masters of the crypto universe, you then have these issues which have been solved in the distant past in different countries. You have them cropping up in 2024 in Nigeria. So we don't need to go down that route. There is a way for us to have there are a number of tools we can have. We can work closely with the regulators. We can have daily fixings. We can centralize within reason a little bit more of how the operations around foreign exchange and the Naira works, and how it can be done to ensure there's no slippage and, as I like to call, needless hemorrhaging of the value of the Naira, right? So there are things that can be done to ensure it's fair for everyone. By everyone, I mean every Nigerian, and obviously participants in the market space, those who are coming in with FDI, and, investments, market participants, companies, international, local. There are ways it can be done to ensure it's fair for everyone. So that's the view that I have. And that's certainly what we are going to be doing with our platform to make it easy for all Nigerians.
All right, let's look at this now. Binance faces, allegations of terrorism financing, money laundering, tax evasion, among others. And this is not the only country where Binance activities have been brought under scrutiny. Now, having an illicit inflow of that's what the CBN called it anyway, an illicit inflow of about $26 billion through that same platform in the last year via unknown sources. I'm sure you would also agree with me that this isn't something to be taken with kid gloves. How concerning is this?
Well, I mean, it boils down to that simple rule again, the travel rule, right? So when we say illicit funds, we call them illicit because we don't know where they've come from, right? So where does 26 billion come from if it's moved on the blockchain? Is it possible to do a forensic analysis to sort of, find out which wallets were receiving what funds and where those funds have come from? It is possible to do the analysis, right? And I'd like to think that, the CBN or, perhaps those who are looking at this case are looking to find out who are the folks that received these monies. Did the monies come into folks in Nigeria? Did folks in Nigeria send out that money? What analysis is being done to determine who owned those wallets? It is possible to do all of this because the Americans do it. And certainly there are different, governing bodies and, around the world, who often look into, crypto forensics. So it is possible to do it. But I think going forward, there are a number of things that we all need to be cognizant of. So there's a big hole that will be left by Binance exiting Nigeria. It is pertinent in all of us, not just exchange owners like myself, but also the SEC, the CBN, to make sure that folks don't shift this entire operation to an underground sort of even more murkier than what we've had. It's pertinent in all of us to come together to find a way to there are about 40 million Nigerians with interest in crypto. We need to be able to meet that demand in such a way that the Nigerians, get what they want, and the governing bodies are also comfortable that it's being done in such a way that it won't have any further impact on the economy. So we have to move very fast. We need to ensure that things are being done properly, and we need to ensure that any issues that we've seen in the past do not happen going forward into the future. I think it's an exciting time all the same, and I think, from my perspective, as far as we're concerned, we're happy to work with the SEC and the CBN to institute, a stronger framework for governing cryptocurrencies, and also give Nigerians the access that they're accustomed to under those sort of safer guidelines, as I've been mentioning.
You know, you just answered what I thought would be my last question. But just before then, let me talk about this now. What are your expectations from this particular investigation? And do you think the federal government is going about it the right way, announcing a fine and then retracting to say, oh, no, this is not what it is?
With all due respect, one of the reasons why Binance was able to come in and do what it's done in Nigeria is largely because there's lack of control, within the financial sector in Nigeria. And I'm not going to take that on the current administration. I personally applaud the fact that the current administration has come out and is trying its best to put its arm around this. Right. The previous administration, I mean, I was very vocal then. We wanted them to come in to regulate, and they never did. But the current administration is willing to do something. And I believe they're doing everything they can with the knowledge they have to sort of solve this issue. And I think, the start has, been a little bumpy, as it is with most new things. But I think, and I'm very confident that as time goes on, with the assist of our company and persons like myself, I think we'll be able to put we will have a solution, to the current crisis. And at the same time, Binance, I believe, and I would certainly like to think that, their stopping of services may perhaps be temporary. And at some point in the future, when the dust is settled, perhaps they'll get another opportunity to bring their technology back into the country under the guises of, the federal government and its regulatory bodies.
All right. Thank you so much, Atose, for coming on the show and for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you very much for having me.